morning, everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to share some of our experience. My name is Randy Rausch, and I'm the Business Analytics and Manufacturing Information Leader for GE Energy Storage. So, energy storage is a startup within GE, and that's kind of an interesting concept. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So back in October of 2009, we took an idea to commercialize a technology to our chairman. And he gave us a check for $140 million and said, bring me back a $500 million business by 2016 and a $1 billion business by 2020. No problem. So at the time, we had this technology that we developed, but we didn't really know if the technology would work. We didn't know if we could manufacture the technology, and we didn't know if anybody would buy it. But other than that, we had a really good plan, right? So from there, we got started, right? And if you don't get started, you'll never get there. So I was employee number 3, and we're up to about 350 employees right now. And we're situated in upstate New York, so we're paying union labor wages and electricity charges in upstate New York. And we're selling our products into Nigeria, Bangladesh, Kenya, Japan, the United States, all over. So to do that, you have to do something a little bit better, right? You need to learn faster. You need to be competitive. So over the next 18, 19 minutes or so, I'm going to teach you about how we use data and analytics to learn faster, how we take that information and put it in at the fingertips of the people making decisions on our shop floor, and a little bit more about what we've done with mobility. Okay, so at Energy Storage, we manufacture batteries and energy storage systems. Right? So we use a nickel salt, it's a sodium-based chemistry, which is really cool. It gives you a lot better cycle life. It gives you more energy per weight or area. It gives you a lot less product with a lot less need for maintenance. You can do monitoring and diagnostics. Lots of cool stuff. So the cells are about the size of, say, a pack of saltine crackers, a little bit smaller than that. Put different number of cells within the batteries. Stick the batteries together into whatever sort of energy solution you might need. So our primary markets are in, say, telecommunications, so a battery to back up a cell phone tower, all the way to grid energy storage systems to store to balance the entire electrical grid or do frequency regulation. Looking into mining vehicles, fork trucks. We're looking at backing up data centers, backing up entire other factories with 15 megawatt hour batteries and things like that. So pretty cool stuff we get to work with, right? But the interesting part is when we started this out, everything was new, right? Brand new technology. The process to make it was new. Brand new product we were still designing. Brand new. You had to completely build a building. Nobody there was trained yet, right? And had to custom order all of the equipment. So the speed at which we learn is a key driver of how we can be successful as a business. There were just so many unknowns that we had to figure out, right? And then there's another time scale of speed. Once we've figured something out, then the speed at which we can act or react to that information is important, right? So in our factory at full capacity, every minute is $1,600 of revenue opportunity. So we only have 180,000 square foot factory, so we're pretty proud of that for just our little space. But that does mean at a 2-second tack time that your scrap can build up very quickly if you're not implementing your decisions as soon as you can. So towards our first challenge on top there is using data and analytics to solve the problem. And toward the second step then is putting information at the fingertips of your decision makers. So when we started on this journey, we knew that the key component to manufacturing this product was a ceramic. And if you look at the picture on the screen there, that white tube is a ceramic underneath the pink top. And it's a complex shape and has to be formed to have just the right properties and shapes and sizes. And so we went to go benchmark the best ceramics manufacturers we could find. And they were getting about 75% or so yields of the best ones, and then they were also having a large variation in yield, 5% one day, 95% the next day. And we would sit, and honest to God, with people who have PhDs in ceramics manufacturing are telling us that it's a black magic to manufacture. And that's probably not a real good way to run your business, is on black magic. So from that point, our big strategy was, okay, we need the data to solve this problem. We put sensors absolutely everywhere. When we capture all this data, add the context of genealogy, and use analytics to find out what the issues were. Right? So the vision that we put forth then was how do we use this information? How do we provide relevant, timely, actionable information, right, to drive our profitability? How do we be agile, robust to changes in the processes, the people, the equipment? And how do we start to look ahead instead of just what happened? You know, it's nice to be able to read the license plate of the Mack truck that hit you, but wouldn't it have been better to step out of the way in the first place? So that's how we started going down this, right? So we've implemented our prophecy tools to collect the data and add that genealogy context, and then to visualize it. And then we're starting to diagnose, and then we're on our path toward being able to predict based upon that information. So through that, we've been operating our factory for just under a year or so now, and we've actually already redefined world-class yield in that manufacturing area. So it's been a very fast ramp up to be able to hit the targets that we need to be able to learn quickly from that information. So as we take people through and we tour our factory, and we have all this incredible investment in data and analytics and how we do that, and the number one question I get asked is, how'd you do that on the iPad? Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit today about how we did that on the iPad. Right? So the key premise here is bring your data to your people. Right? Things are happening fast. You don't want people in the offices. You want people out on the shop floor making decisions. So we've got, again, all of our data. We've got our real-time information. Certainly through simplicity, we use global view quite a bit to put screens out in front of the area. So once we know what the KPIs are through our analytics, we then put that device right in front of the people manufacturing the part. If this is important to know, it's right there in front of you, whether that be an SBC chart or whether that be a Kanban queue or whether that be a pacing target or whatever is important, whether it could be, you know, how the machine is trending for maintenance, whatever. So that's right there in front of the people that are on the line making the part. But there are some people that are walking up and down the line, so the line level supervisors or team leaders, things like that, that may need to ask some more questions. You may not know what you need to know right where you are. And so we implemented a mobility solution to give them a mobile device, what they've got to be able to ask questions of the data and present that right in front of them. And of course, all this is available on the office for all the executives and things like that. But again, we want to drive those people down to the floor. So we've got our production result, our quiet alarms, SBC, some of these things that you see listed there that we're able to see and have available on our mobile devices out on the floor. Some other nice things about that are the video conferencing capability as well. So we have our manufacturing and original equipment manufacturers developed our stuff. They dropped it off. They were from all over the world. We started to have issues with, say, an actuator, and instead of having them get on a plane to fly way out to take a look at it to fix it, we usually just popped up a FaceTime or a video conference of other type. Usually our provider had that capability as well, and they could see the video right there and interact with it and ask questions. And that was a nice productivity improvement as well. So a lot of nice things that came from the iPad. So in terms of why we chose the iPad, we looked at ruggedized devices, things like that, and found we have air-conditioned environments at our factory. It's not a real harsh environment. They may break easier, but if you look at the price of ruggedized compared to the commercial devices, you could break a lot of commercial devices by the time you paid for the ruggedized. So we went with the commercial style. I went to Walmart and I bought a $20 case, and it seems to work just fine. We'd expected that we'd have a lot of breakage from time to time that we'd be able to replace. We expected that some of them would go missing. Actually, we haven't had any break and haven't had any go missing yet over the year that we've been doing this. So that's been good. We have a form factor just so it sits in your hand so you can have your hands free to work. And it's been pretty good. So in terms of security, we use the Wi-Fi only versions. There's two-factor authentication to get on our network. And then we have read-only from there. There's another third factor of authentication before you're able to write. And that's all firewalled off again from even the PLC networks as well. So hopefully we pass the day one's talk on the security items. But one of the things that's been really useful to us, we didn't spend a lot of time investing in a cost-benefit analysis of doing mobility. Right? We had our information in Prophecy. We had it in Global View. It was a matter of downloading a free app and the information showed up on our iPad. It wasn't any additional work. And so for us, it was a no-brainer to, here's a tool that helps your people do their job faster. Let's go use it. And so it was really quite simple from that aspect. And again, it wasn't a big cost benefit with a big slide and all that sort of stuff. We tried a couple out, it worked great, and rolled rolled the iPads out. So it has been excellent. So a couple of impressions that we've found. The most useful, so yes, we have all this great data and we have all these MES systems and ERP systems and everything available, but the most useful thing was email, right? Have your email on the shop floor. I wish it was a more technologically astounding revelation, but that's what we got. So that worked pretty well. And again, we had the instant messaging capability as well to find people out on the floor, and certainly the video conferencing that we talked about earlier. So the iPads or tablets, there's really nothing you can do on them that you can't do on, say, your laptop. But people don't want to carry their laptop around for their entire shift. Certainly our ergonomics police aren't going to allow that. And so the mobility becomes a tool, the portal to see the information that you've got, say, through your MES systems or whatever. But if you really do need something on your PC, we found very useful the remote desktop back to the PC on your desk if you forgot something or needed to print something or whatever. So that was pretty useful. Again, not a major technological revelation, but very useful. And of course, having that access to the real-time information has been a really key thing for, again, things operate very quickly on the floor. Give the information to the people making the decisions was a pretty big deal for what we were able to do and to enable the decision making there on the floor. So, in the past, we've often had some cultural issues rolling new technology out. That was not the case at all with the iPads, right? People couldn't wait to get their hands on them. They viewed them as a toy. It was a nice thing for employee retention. But really the key factor here is using the mobility, promoted people spending time on the shop floor. It got our managers out of the offices, it got our supervisors down on the floor, and people didn't miss 8 hours worth of emails when they were down on the floor. They had the information that they needed. So not, again, fairly straightforward, but it has been a very powerful, impactful type thing for us. Okay, so I thought I'd take a major risk and do a live demo, so we'll see how this goes. But I also want to show you the information that we've got. Now, again, we have access to all of our key information about our process, and we make really good margins in our business, and we want to keep doing that. So I am not going to show you all of the key process information, but I am going to show you the technology and the things working, but I'm going to show you from our facility management point of view, so that we can keep our company secrets a little longer. So here's just an overview of our facility management system. Again, we use a simplicity-based system. We ran Ethernet everywhere, put PLCs everywhere, so everything works together. It's easy to add and expand, and we gather a lot of that information. So with our manufacturing, environmental control is very important, and so we're able to control and monitor the facility things here. So if you could switch over to the device here, I'll pull up. One moment. Okay, so I'm VPN'd into our factory at the moment, and we're looking at a global view display of live information coming from our factory. So just an initial thing that I'm pretty sure is not proprietary information is let's check out the weather in Schenectady, New York. Right. So again, we use this information. But we have to control humidity and things like that. So we have a weather station on our roof, and we use that to help actually understand when the weather is changing, so we can open or close the dampers on our heating and ventilation systems. So it's it's above freezing. It's 35 degrees. So again, we've got some real-time information here. I understand that there's a lot of work that has been done with, I'll call it the user experience, how you use colors and dimensions and other types of good graphical design to display information. I understand that I am not using the best practices of those. So and part of that was in the reality world that I sometimes have to live in, we're pretty constrained on resources. And the first thing we want to do is get out our minimum viable product in an agile development type of way. So again, we had access to this data, and we threw up some quick screens and used the default stuff to get that data. And as we're learning, we realize we want to put the data in different places. And once we kind of get that figured out, we'll invest the time to make it look pretty, if you will. But in the meantime, We'll look through some of just the fact that we've got our real-time information streaming in. This has really been great for our maintenance system, right? So we'll pull up, here's our deionized water. We can dive into, which pumps are running, dive into that particular area, see the level of the tank, pull up our historical levels over time, right? And to see how that trends. And of course, all of that is stored with our historian. We use that data with our genealogy context, and we can understand, hey, we had some issues with the product during this particular batch of this or that particular batch of that, et cetera. So it's been a fairly powerful type of thing to have. Again, fairly straightforward. This is you all have screens like this in your factories. It's nothing special here. And the trick is you put them in global view, and now they're automatically available on your iPad. So our plant managers really love certainly this facility management types of things. Our maintenance team can get alerts. We can do things where we start to build in real-time bottleneck information and help people downstream or upstream understand if a machine broke down, how do you react? And we build in the decision support with the live data feed on their iPad to say, okay, we need to do this differently today because this event happened. Or our real-time bottleneck is over here, let's move some of our labor over to work through this particular backlog. So again, it helps us really make decisions faster, it helps us see what's out there, and other sorts of stuff. Lots of good information. Let's see. So we're using 2.1 megawatts of power right now in our factory and spent about $3,000 the other day in electricity and things like that. So just a simple overview on get your data out in front of people. It's not a big investment to be able to do that. A few $100s for the device. If you already have your Wi-Fi infrastructure, you can leverage that. If you already have, again, and I'm familiar with the Simplicity tools and Global View, there's a free app you download and you're up and running, right? So from there, pretty straightforward. So I am going to close with that and say, okay, we've collected a bunch of data. We've added the analytics to give us the ability to learn faster. We've taken those analytics and learnings and we've put it on our devices in front of our employees who are manufacturing. We've also given it via mobility solutions on the tablets or the phones or whatever you have to be able to see that information in real time to make your decisions faster. It's been a lot of value for not a lot of cost and has really helped in our continuous improvement journey. So I recommend you give the mobility technologies a try if you haven't already. Thank you very much.